Ladies, I'm flying alone here today. Absolutely. Stuart is off. We'll be back next week. I just want to welcome you to another edition of the Rent Network. Welcome back. And if this is your first time here, thank you so much for joining us. This podcast is about bringing you unfiltered, uncensored conversations on a wide variety of topics. You see, it's unedited, unfiltered, on everything. Look, the platform is here to give you and express your opinions, share your thoughts, experiences, and ideas, and hear from a variety of perspectives and honest opinions. Join us as we dive into the latest news, pop culture, politics, and so many other topics. From rants about the absurdity of modern life to simple discussions about the deeper issues affecting our society, guess what? The Rant Network's got you covered. Sit back, relax, and enjoy on this journey of discovery and exploration. Welcome to the Rant Network. It's June, and June is Pride Month. And I got to tell you, I know a lot of people who say to me, David, you're probably dead against this month. You and Stuart probably think this is the worst month of the year because it's Pride Month. And I'm like, in what world did you come up with this idea? And they said, well, as conservatives, you're all anti-gay. And I heard that remark not long ago, and I just looked at that individual and I said, how did you get, please, from all conservatives hate gays? And they spewed this mantra. We talked about Ron DeSantis on Wednesday, his anti-gay legislation, which is false. How conservatives want to destroy gays and don't approve gay marriage, false. All these, propaganda-like left-wing, woke, whatever you want to call it, remarks that are so off the wall. But from a personal level, I have a gay son. And to tell me I'm anti-gay without even knowing who I am and what I stand for is appalling. 4 years ago, at the last gay pride parade in Montreal, my wife and I stood with our son at the parade, admiring him, admiring that ability that he came out, admiring those that were there for their struggles, the challenges that they faced, that the LGBT community has faced. It's brutal. It is disgusting. I didn't realize to what extent how hard they had it. And frankly, we stood there, proud parents of our son. And there were parents from liberal families who wouldn't go there with their children. In fact, their children told us that they were really impressed we were there to support our child because their parents would have thrown them out. Liberal, conservative is irrelevant. It's about understanding. There's a generational gap. There is no doubt about it. I know that my parents' generation, the notion of gay was unbelievable. When I went to high school, it was used as a term to insult somebody. It's not like that for the most part anymore. And the LGBT community has really come out and has done some phenomenal advances. And thankfully, society has really caught on. Where I'm irked, and by the way, not just me, but my son and many others within the gay community are irked because suddenly saying that you support the gay community, well, that's cool. That's okay. And if you don't do it, you might be left behind. And we've seen that with the NHL and other sports leagues with Pride Night. Either you are part of it or you're against them. I mean, religious reasons be damned, this is what it is. If you're not part of the Pride month, Pride time, Pride event, you're anti-gay. It's so black and white. But here's the problem. What does it mean, Pride month? What does it mean to get involved in that? And unfortunately, there are a lot of companies that find themselves, saying, let's take advantage of this month. I can sell more merchandise. So let's slap a rainbow on everything, put it out there on mugs and t-shirts and hats and flags and blah, blah, blah. And let's paint the office with the rainbow colors, and let's change our logos temporarily, and let's do all these wonderful things. There's a term out there for that, ladies and gentlemen. It's called rainbow washing. And the LGBT community knows it, sees it, and is offended by it. It's not about taking advantage of a consumer group. This is supposed to be about pride, pride of pride. And when we stood at the parade and I saw all these commercial, businesses there, I asked my son, in about 6 months from now, when it's not Pride Month or Pride Parade or whatever, are they there? Are they still promoting pride? And you can't imagine how many companies just do not. But what ends up happening is we end up blaming, right? We blame. And the most recent blame has happened in two areas. One, the most explosive one, was Dylan Mulvaney and Bud Light. That Bud Light decided to use Dylan Mulvaney, send cans of Bud Light to Dylan Mulvaney, and it created an unbelievable reaction. And the people who were opposed to Bud Light were called racists, bigots, anti, trans, names, labels, you name it. But the conversation went beyond that. And when it comes up to transgender, and if you listen to past rants, especially the ones that I've done on my own, when it comes up to transgender, it's not about being opposed to transgender. It's about how it is portrayed and shoved down people's throats. Okay? It's not about, it's not about let live and let live. It's I'm going to live as a transgender and I'm going to force it down your throats. I'm going to force change in women's sports. I'm going to force change in other places to convenience me. To them, they say it's necessary. It's not. There are many, many women who do not want to go to a bathroom and see male genitalia, even though they're transgender. They're having a hard time with it. Can't say anything. But they're fully supportive of all the rest, but it doesn't matter. Women are being shamed into responding. Megyn Kelly, who many of you may not remember from Fox and NBC, has her own podcast. She has interviewed numerous female athletes who said they couldn't compete. They didn't want to be in the same dressing room with them. They were forced with them. They didn't want that. It's not rainbow washing. This is not rainbow washing. This is shoving it down people's throats in such a way that, you ask yourself, why? Why do I need to be part of this? I don't want to be part of this. And now Target put out merchandise, and all of a sudden with the backlash, they took it off. And the reaction from the community has been extraordinary. A handful of people are against this, and they took it out of all their stores to avoid a backlash. And here we go again. The black and white of it. You either support it or you're a racist and a bigot. No conversation, no discourse. The merchandising, the forceability of the whole thing has made this part absolutely unbearable for many people. It's unfortunate because, frankly speaking, the gay and lesbian communities and other members have worked so hard to gain social conformity, social acceptance, you name it. Turn on television, watch a movie. There's hardly anything on today in entertainment without that form of diversity. Absolutely. It finally came in. But not to force transgenderism into sports because take it or leave it. If you don't, you're a bigot. It's not the way it works. All right? This is not rainbow washing. This is shoving the goddamn arc down our throats. What I don't want to see is this fighting. I don't want to see. There has to be a conversation in that. And we've talked about that. But in Pride Month, for God's sake, because all of these groups are all put in together, some are getting hurt. Drag queens telling stories at a library. Listen, if you want to do that for 5-year-olds and you think that that's what your community wants, do it. Please do it. But shoving it down my throat and telling me I don't have a choice to accept it? Why? If there's a restaurant opening on the street and I don't attend that restaurant, am I a bigot? I'm choosing not to go there. I'm also choosing not to go to the drag queen to watch that person read a book. I don't understand it that we've put ratings on television shows, on music, on entertainment. All right. I mean, imagine if you swear, oh, now it's a PG-13. If you show a penis, it's got to be rated R. But sexually explicit things coming from there's certain things you just don't want to see. You don't want your child to see that right now. They're just not, we put the ratings there, but suddenly you have to accept it. And now in 2023 in Pride Month, rather than creating a greater togetherness and understanding, we've created a new divide. Because there isn't that ability to ease in, to work with the communities, to understand how to help people to recognize, certain individuals in certain social categories, having these strong conversations, these discourses that are a little bit challenging, like women and transgenderism in sports. It is a difficult conversation to have. And instead, it's said, we're told, shut up, you need to accept it. And if you don't, you're a racist and a bigot. And at Pride Month, where I want to stand with my son for the first time in 4 years because the parade is finally back in Montreal, I don't want people to misunderstand. Okay? I am not necessarily supporting every single little thing. I'm here to support my son. But you can't. It's all or nothing. If you don't, you're a bigot. And when you read the articles online and you read all this, the answer is it's not about I should accept someone because they're transgender. They're human beings. I should accept them for being human. Okay? Putting up a flag with Target's name on it doesn't make me proud. It's the opposite. I've had a flag for 4 years from a retailer here in because I'm proud, but it doesn't mean that I'm it's ridiculous. The whole idea is putting on these pride theme events, like the NHL is doing. Sure, I'm all in favor of that. I'm all in favor of the pride. But there are certain points where the movements have confounded and complicated things rather than made it easier and better. If we don't have transgender athletes in the swimming pool, in the cycling arena, and you name it, competing against women, we're bad. If we don't let drag queens read in libraries, we're bad. I didn't realize that this is the litmus test. And as we're here in Pride Month, what I was talking about at the beginning about rainbow washing, I hate corporations who want to take advantage of it, but I also hate people who can't stand the fact that their desires are being challenged. There are some social things that need to be discussed. I can't just accept it at face value, and I won't. And nothing in Pride Month is going to change my mind before we have these conversations. So I don't care if a corporation puts out more Bud Light cans or more, Target merchandise or something along the lines. I'm not buying anything. And I'm certainly not buying that argument that I have to accept that the certain key social issues related to certain communities. Not that I don't accept transgenders, not that the people want to be drag queens. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is there are challenges, and we need to have these conversations. And as we finish Pride, as we're just entering Pride Month, let's have them openly. But the left won't let it, and others will not. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it for today's episode. Thanks for tuning into the Ret Network. Hope you enjoyed this conversation, gained some valuable insights, and we appreciate your support. Join us again Monday, Wednesday, Friday, noon Eastern. Our website is close to being launched. Yes! In the meantime, follow us on social media. Share your thoughts. Remember, we're always interested in hearing from our viewers and listeners. Hey, tell us what you want to hear about. Thanks again for listening. Catch you next week. Stay well.